The other barb was living to use and how to use to live. The bubbly barb is enjoying life, living to, I don't know, to find happiness.
Sitka has a reputation of being a beautiful, picturesque, wonderful small community, and it is. It's a wonderful place. But I think there's a lot of pain and suffering that happens in our small community that people don't pay attention to and aren't aware of.
People think heroin and alcohol and drugs, but addiction can be a lot of, there's behavior addictions, gambling, video gaming. It's just a way that people deal with pain. Like it's behaviors and substances and things that people use to soothe themselves.
If you're afraid, if you have bad memories or PTSD or things like that, all of those things can put fuel on the fire of the pain center in the brain and really make you feel worse.
They say it's a disease and it's progressive and it's fatal. Sometimes people don't understand that because they could drink like a normal person, and then sometimes people have a hard time with it.
A lot of folks will come in for alcohol addiction, but when you enter into the different drugs, we see a lot of meth, and we've seen actually a decrease in heroin and opiates. I think part of it is because of the crackdown on different systems where you're not seeing so many prescribers anymore.
The medical community made this promise to patients that, you know, we will assess your pain, we'll treat your pain, we'll make it better, we can fix pain. And the teaching was that as long as there was real pain, you could use these medications and people wouldn't get addicted, people wouldn't overdose, and people's pain would improve. That's what we were told. It turns out that's not true, and that wasn't based on any good scientific evidence. And this whole thing with the opioids has kind of made us go, well, we'll do our best, but gosh, sometimes pain is just going to be a part of life, and we're going to have to figure out other ways to manage it and to minimize it and to distract ourselves from it and to cope with it rather than to conquer it. And that's a discouraging message to a lot of patients, and I think a lot of physicians too feel a little bit discouraged by that. We wish we could do better.
Every culture and every community has its own way of dealing with pain and grief, and those systems have been stripped due to colonization. And I think part of healing and treatment has to be paying attention more to those systems too, and how to restore those systems rather than just saying you need to go to a 28-day program and then you need to go to another program.
It's hard. You don't want to force recovery down somebody because they have to be ready for it and want it, because sometimes they'll run. So it just depends on the person how hard the recovery will be. And sometimes it takes 10, 12 times for somebody. And it took me about that many times. But I didn't give up. I still have that dream of having a home.
When you're sitting with somebody, you have to get over your own biases and your own beliefs, right? People challenge you in that way. There are certain stories that are fed to us about addiction all over our culture, news, whatever. And my job really is not to only think of that, right? Like, you know, advocacy and all that stuff within that person's context, but just to sit with them and hear them out and try to drown out all the other stories that have been told to me about what this person has done and why they're here in this place.
And I was home alone in a tent at minus 20 degrees weather, and you get frostbite on your feet, and the tent caves in with snow and you almost die. That's when you get a wake-up call and said, I can't do this anymore. And that's what happened this year. And and I looked at him and said, I'm ready to go long term. It's my new beginning. It just makes me want to cry because from having nothing to having hope and dreams today is just ecstatic.